call this meeting to order. If we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take that a little more serious, sir.
Can we get a roll call of the members present, please? I am here.
Councilmember Conover?
Thank you.
Present.
Councilmember Biggs?
Here.
Councilmember Graham?
Here.
Councilmember Justin? Councilmember Paparad?
Here.
And Councilmember Rivas?
Here.
6 present.
Thank you very much. First reading, please.
Notice to taxpayers of proposed additional appropriation. Notice is hereby given the taxpayers of Porter County, Indiana, that the proper legal officers of Porter County will meet in the Porter County Government Administration Building located at 155 Indiana Avenue, Valparaiso, on July 26, 2016, at 5:30 p.m. to consider the following additional appropriations in respect to the county budget for the year 2016 and the transaction of further business which might come before the council. General Fund, Porter Superior Court, 2430 Law Books, $11,500. Sheriff, 1130 Overtime, $5,769.63. Community Corrections Fund, Fund 1122, 1120 hourly, $15,000, 1210 cycle, 1,148, 2110 office supplies, 120, 2230 food and groceries, 500, 2250 other supplies, $22,880. 3130 training and ads, 1,250. 3930 dues and subscriptions, $1,000. 3950 contractual, 135,852. Motor vehicle highway fund, Fund 1176. 2320 garage and motor supplies, 25,000. 3650 vehicle repair, 25,000. Cume Bridge Fund 1135. 3950 contractual, 75,000. Sheriff's DPA Proceeds Fund, Fund 8118, 3950 contractual, 55,000, 8118, 4540 other equipment, 25,000. Court Interpreter Grant Fund, Fund 9108, 3170 interpreter, $6,300. JDAI Grant Fund, Fund 9125, 1120 hourly, $37,002. 1210 FICA, $2,832. 2250 other supplies, $11,000. 3210 travel, $1,166. And 3950 contractual, $7,000. Taxpayers appearing in such meeting shall have the right to be heard thereon. The additional appropriations as finally made will be referred to the Indiana Department of Local Government Finance, which will make a written determination as to the sufficiency of funds to support the appropriations made within 50 days of receipt of a certified copy of the action taken from Victor Davis, Auditor, Porter County, published July 15, 2016, in the Chester Tribune.
Thank you very, very much, Madam Auditor. And for the minutes, Councilman Justin is now with us. Approval of your June 2016 minutes. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to review them.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second? And a second. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Commissioners, General Fund, transfer $39,000 from hourly to work comp, a shortage after the work comp audit. Councilwoman Blaney.
Councilwoman.
I make the motion.
Commissioner. I'm living in the past. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any discussion?
Get a senior moment.
I almost demoted her.
Was this Laura, was this on pay, because of payroll or the modifier? It had to be paid.
It's not the mod, it's payroll. And it's because the third pod opened in the jail, so we
Okay.
added all those people.
Right.
Any other questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Transfer is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Porter Superior Court, General Courts, additional $11,500 to law books, additional $6,300 to court interpreter, and $400 transfer from legal to maintenance agreements, and $400 transfer from legal to dues and subscriptions. I did talk to Judge Bradford about he had an unexpected death he needed to attend to, but about the law book request, he indicated that this is to get him to the end of this year. They're necessary law books. He says he knows this has been sort of an ongoing issue, so in their budget that we will be dealing with this year for next year, he has moved some money around and encumbered to be able to deal with this inside of his budget at this point forward.
Move to approve.
So we have a motion, second, I assume, both additionals and transfers?
Yes.
Yep.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conover?
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs?
Yes.
Councilmember Graham?
Yes.
Councilmember Jessen?
Yes.
Councilmember Paparad?
Yes.
Councilmember Rivas?
Yes.
And Councilmember Whitten?
Yes.
7-0.
Porter County Highway, we got a Cume Bridge additional $75,000, a contractual additional for engineering invoices for Bridge 62 over Kankakee River, plus a motor vehicle highway additional $25,000 to garage and motor supplies, $25,000 to vehicle repair, additional needed now and through the end of the year.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion, a couple of motions and a second. Discussion or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Biggs?
Yes.
Councilmember Graham?
Yes.
Councilmember Jessen?
Yes.
Councilmember Paparad?
Yes.
Councilmember Rivas?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten?
Yes.
Councilmember Conover?
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you. Good night. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Emergency Management, General Fund EMA, a transfer of $180 from dues and subscriptions to water and sewage for all kinds of reasons.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Transfer is approved. Sheriff. The General Fund Sheriff request of $5,769.63 to overtime special services overtime reimbursement plus a DEA Fort Fund, additional $25,000 other equipment, $55,000 to contractual services, body cameras, and license and storage for body cameras. What's your pleasure?
Move.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion or questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The $55,000 contractual, what's that?
That's for the body cams.
Yeah.
Part of that is they're going to be housing on
Storage.
storage and everything.
Yeah.
We're spending $25,000 on the cameras,
Mhm.
and we're spending $55,000 on storage of the cameras?
Yeah, that's storage for it's a iCloud storage.
For video.
For
all
video?
the videos that are being taken on the body cam.
Oh, you mean not physically, you're talking about the video?
Oh, no, no.
No.
We're gonna pay,
Cloud. Just keep the videos.
Yeah,
Like-
Yeah, I know.
put it on their server, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we would have no way,
is that per year, or?
that's per year, yeah. And plus it's a setup fee also.
This is not general fund money, is it?
No.
So,
Nope.
Well, it's gonna be, because they'll probably throw the grant out for the first year, and then it'll flop back to us.
Do we know
We're
what
gonna
part of
try
that
not to
is,
do that.
do we know what part of that is the annual subscription, if you will?
Yeah.
I believe it's going to be 50. We're going to house all the cameras, all the video.
It's actually over like a 5-year period for even the storage, so that the first year is more, and do you have the breakdown?
Yeah.
The first year is more for the storage because of the setup fee. So I don't think the second, third, and fourth year are as expensive as that.
Edie, you said we're gonna have the server?
No, we aren't. No, we wouldn't be able to manage that. It's going to be massive with all the video.
Well, no, but you just said something about we're having the server, that's fine.
It'll be on their servers.
Their server,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not
wherever
our
wherever that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wherever the iCloud is.
That's where the Russians can hack it.
Well, it's...
there it is. I was waiting.
Pay for police,
That's
so-
what paparazzi won't do.
Did you say Russian?
Yes, you did.
Is this all new then? This is the first time you guys are,
Yeah, this is
First
something
off.
that we're trying to get, and this initial money is going to come up from the DEA Forestry Fund, so any money we get from the
How many
DEA.
cameras?
yeah.
How many cameras? It's like 45, I believe.
So most everybody will have one.
All patrol officers, yeah.
And we are saying that that'll take care of the subscription for it for 5 years.
Yes, well,
Not for 5 years.
no, this is for the first year.
Okay, I'm confused on that. I thought,
Well, it's a 5-year, it'll be, we've been looking at 2 companies, and the one company we thought we were going to go with, it was a 5-year, but now they found another one that might possibly be even better. The cameras will be even better, so this was just to get the money into there, so when they do make the decision, and we'll have to get the contracts through them and to the commissioners and sign and everything beforehand.
I think you're saying the 55,000, it's going to be annually, but you don't think it's going to be this much. You're thinking a portion of that is a setup fee, but there's going to be an annual contractual
We're
cost.
hoping to be able to fund it from that fund also.
Any other questions?
Yeah, the only thing I would ask is if, before you actually go into contract, that's brought in front of the Board of Commissioners.
That will have to be, yeah.
and is that also let the council know, I just want to make sure that we don't end up with something $75,000 a year or something like that.
Well,
Cut off guard on that.
yeah, and along those lines, what's the time frame on getting a contract? What are we talking about here?
It just really, we found one company we really liked, and they were giving us a great deal, and that's why this started. But then we found another one that might be even better, so we're
Yeah,
just...
sure.
Because, and our biggest concern, obviously, is how do we budget for it?
Going forward.
So maybe what you can do is, as a matter of fact, maybe you should do this. As you get a contract or a potential contract for the commissioners, perhaps you could get a copy to our attorney. You know, just so we know how to address it in the future. Sure. Kind of applying for it.
The $25,000 is for the cameras themselves,
Yes.
so that's less than $500 a unit if you're getting 45.
No, I think that's also broke down, isn't it, with the
Round
5-year...
numbers?
With a 5-year contract, you pay 25 over a 5-year deal.
So we're paying 25 a year for 5 years?
I believe that's what Taser...
I think we definitely need to see this deal before it goes forward, because this grant money's gonna die out.
This is a grant, this is forfeiture fund, this is seizure money.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But my point is that, I don't think any of us can sit here with good, and say in 3 years this money's gonna be given to us. So I think we're gonna have to budget for it. Eventually, the fund's gonna dry up.
Not
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Not necessarily.
The only way the money's going to dry up,
Replenishes.
we stop doing forfeitures, and
Yeah.
that's not likely.
Well, but if we win the war on drugs,
Well, we're hoping.
No, Linda,
yeah,
That'd
so
be a
this
big
is,
problem to-
so it's 25,000 a year for 5 years for 45 cameras.
I believe that's what it was.
So now we're looking at $3,000 or $4,000 a camera.
Right, that sounds like
Okay.
a lot.
No,
Okay, well, I was gonna say, 'cause it seems
the
like-
cameras are a one-time fee.
All
The
right.
cameras
now-
are a one-time fee.
Would you rather see the breakdown first before we...
Well, I was
Yeah,
curious,
all right,
yeah.
stop. Let's just go ahead. Here's what I-
Because initially, we were going to do the Taser one, which was these numbers.
Let's do this,
but-
let's do this. Let's table this off to our next meeting. In the meantime, maybe you guys could
Yeah,
explore the contract that you want to, so at least we have an idea of what we are obligating the county for, so we can plan for it.
Okay.
If you don't mind, I mean, there's
No.
No,
no
yeah.
rush for me.
Yeah.
This all kind of got delayed when the sheriff went down to a sheriff conference and saw that there was another company that could do it cheaper.
Perfect.
And so...
Yeah, great. I mean, I appreciate the due diligence and looking at the options. So, yeah, if you could do that, and then just get it to us, and we'll...
Will it be video and audio?
Yes.
So,
Yeah,
all right.
I think we all understand the importance of
Yes.
of having them. It's not, I don't think it's I don't want to speak for anybody, I don't think it's a question of getting cold feet about paying for them.
Just wanting to see the contract.
We just want to make sure that we know what we're getting into.
So let me get a motion to table the DEA forfeiture fund.
Move to table.
The motion is second to table the DEA forfeiture fund request. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Let's go back. You don't want to table it?
No, I don't, you know,
Jeff, if
they're in front of us talking about this. There's other departments here that don't give a shit, and they put us in for millions and millions of dollars. We're talking about body cams, we're talking about a forfeiture fund that's got some money in it, so I don't know.
I think we need to do it. I think it's
Yes,
necessary.
oh, we all do.
And I think that the questions that the council are asking about the future years and the potential obligation, we just want to know. And since it doesn't, they don't have a contract in hand yet, there seems to be a little time to deal with that. But
It's just good planning. I don't think anybody's up here saying no with it, but it's just, I think it's a responsible way to approach it, is that we know exactly what we're getting into.
It's good planning, but we're, I don't know,
And I think
we're
that-
pushing this off, but we've got other departments that'll sit there and
Yeah.
put us in for millions and millions of dollars for years, and they're not in front of us. They're in front of us, and we're
And Edie or Chief,
Tabling.
if you can give us a little history on this fund and what it's generated over the last, say, 3 years, I think that'll
Not
go
now.
a long way. Yeah,
Yeah, I can do
it'll go a long way.
Yeah.
So let's move right along here. So we still have the general fund request of the overtime, special services overtime reimbursement. What's your pleasure with that?
Move. Second.
We have a motion and a second on the additional request. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
Councilmember Jessen,
Yes.
Councilmember Paparad,
Yes.
Councilmember Rivas,
yes.
Councilmember Witten,
Yes.
Councilmember Conover,
Yes.
Councilmember Bates,
Yes.
7-0.
Sheriff, Jail, Community Corrections Grant Fund, a bunch of additionals, reason, new Community Corrections Grant, a Form 144 hourly one, part-time caseworker up to 28 per hour. $15,000. What's your request with that?
Move.
We have a motion.
Just on the additional?
The additional in the Form 144.
Yep.
Or do you want to split them up?
Oh, no, I didn't make the motion.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
We have a second. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Jessen.
Yes.
Councilmember Paparad.
Yes.
Councilmember Rivas.
Yes.
Councilmember Witten.
Yes.
Councilmember Graham.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Councilmember Conover.
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs.
Yes.
And Councilmember Conover. Or Graham.
She
I
said.
called you.
Anybody who hasn't been called, what do you think?
Yes.
All right. Inmate processing, booking, transfer $24,300 from contractual to interfund transfer, 2016 ICJI grant matching funds, interfund transfer. What's your request?
Move to approve.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? I'll second it. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Thank you.
Just to let you know, too, we're trying to get what is it?
The High Intensity Drug Trafficking Agency.
They're going to possibly pay for some of those cameras for us also.
Cool.
So we would get
Wonderful.
that.
Even
Also
better.
pay for some of the cameras?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great.
But we still will house all, so, for our drug guys that work on the HIDA program.
Right.
So we're working on that, and that was kind of what stops all of it together, too, so trying to get a
Very good.
answer out of them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good evening. Prosecutor, general fund, transfer $19,425 from salaries to hourly. Paid by the prosecutor going on a 10-month military leave. The prosecutor's office contacted me about this, and it seemed to me this was the best approach, too.
And just so that you know, this is for this year. We've included the 6 months of next year when we come before you for next year's budget.
Excellent. And then, of course, along that line, there's a Form 144, hourly up to $25 per hour. And speaking with the county attorney and the prosecutor's office, this seems to be the best approach and easiest and simplest, I think, for you guys. And what's your pleasure?
So moved.
Second. Second.
Motion and a second on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, let's get a roll call.
Okay, Councilmember Rivas.
Yes.
Councilmember Witten.
Yes.
Councilmember Conover.
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs.
Yes.
Councilmember Graham.
Yes.
Councilmember Jessen.
Yes.
And Councilmember Paparad.
Yes.
7-0.
Perfect. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
See you later. Expo Center, general fund, transfer of...
Dan, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Sorry. Brian, are you gonna keep his slot open in the budget for next year when he comes back?
He's coming back, and so we're only going to modify next year's budget for the first 6 months.
Okay,
And then he'll get,
okay. But we'll have that at budget time.
it'll already be in there.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Back to the Expo Center, transfer $8,000, power
Motion to
to...
approve.
Second.
Motion and a second on the floor. Wow, that was fast. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Transfer's approved. Have a good evening. Second reading, please.
Try. I have a question.
You want a question of her?
No, forget it.
She's still here.
She's in the room.
What, everyday maintenance, I'm sorry, I tried, Dan cut me off.
sorry.
No, it's not you, it's Dan.
It's me.
So close to get that.
Yeah.
You should have just kept walking.
Everyday maintenance issues due to additional unforeseen, what's the everyday maintenance issues that you need the additional?
Maybe I shouldn't have used every day. We've had a lot of goofy things going on this year. Water leaks, gates getting taken out, 2 lightning strikes knocking out the alarm system. So a lot of fun things like that.
And it's not an additional, it's a transfer.
It's transfer, yeah. We had a very mild winter, so I was able to move it without getting an additional.
So, maintenance spend a lot of time out there then?
No. No, this is mostly internal. The alarm systems is communications company. They're Siemens certified, so we only can have them work on the system, so it's pretty expensive.
Plus, we have an alarm system there.
We got one in the cow barn, but not in the courthouse.
It's a fire alarm system, yeah. Yeah. We don't have an actual alarm, break-in alarm.
We don't really want to...
Well, we don't want to publicize that either.
I think everybody knows that.
Like that.
Be saying that too loud.
We have the sheriff's department going through every hour.
There you go.
Any other questions, Councilman Rivas?
No, I mean, obviously, there sounds like there's a lot of issues going on out
Yeah,
there. so,
it's been a weird year. It's just,
Tell me about it.
yeah,
uh,
yeah. And we, for the most part, have been able to handle it on our own. The commissioners have jumped in a couple times when we've needed help with the big water leaks. There was a pretty big one.
And, you know, and I don't mean to, for the past directors, but I mean, we have a director that, for the first time in a very long time, I think it's fair to say that, is very, very hands-on.
Yes.
They're out there every day, and they're acting instead of reacting. So, and that, it would seem logical that would increase.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, I think it's going to be nice here shortly in the future, we'll do some sort of needs study on all of our facilities, and we could begin to budget properly for that, so.
That would be good. That would be good. All right, thank you very much.
I thought it was.
Anything else, Jeremy? Anything you want to say about that, or? Second reading, please. You're done.
Whereas it is determined that it's not necessary to appropriate more money than was appropriated in the annual budget,
No.
therefore be it ordained by the Porter County Council of Porter County that for the expenses of the tax unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the funds named for the purposes specified, subject to the law of the same. General fund, $17,269. Corrections fund, $157,750. Motor vehicle highway fund, $75,000.
Hey, buddy, I'm in the middle of a election. No, I didn't.
I'm sorry, Madam Auditor, but there was a lot of conversation going. I couldn't hear the whole thing, but
Motion to approve.
I got the gist of it.
Second.
Motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, well, give me a roll call.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Councilmember Conover,
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs,
Yes.
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
Councilmember Jessen,
Yes.
Councilmember Paparad,
Yes.
and Councilmember Rivas.
Is there something tricky in there, Bob, I should think about? Yes.
7-0.
Harold, do you have anything for us?
The only thing that I wanted to raise with the council was, at the last meeting, there were some questions about the inmate care expenses and the contract that's up for renewal between the jail and Correctional Care Solutions, and I've done some research, gathered some of the documents that you've asked for, and I will be providing that to everyone on the council here shortly. I wanted to let everybody know that I did check into that, and I've got the documents that were requested of me.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I think there are some, it appears to me, one question that came up was, is Medicaid and/or Medicare responsible for paying the expenses of those prisoners for eligible Medicaid and Medicare recipients, and they are not, when they're incarcerated. Now, if they are in an inpatient facility outside of the jail, then they would be, but for outpatient services like dialysis, that kind of thing, that the jail is responsible. There is, in the contract between Correct Care and the jail, does address some of those issues, and it appears to me that there's some things that we may be able to look at in the future. I've been in contact with the sheriff as well about some of those, and I wanted to let everybody know that I've looked into those, and I'm going to provide everybody with the documentation that I've gathered so far.
Well, hold on a minute.
I want to ask a question.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but it was trying to get my...
And Jim, maybe you have more knowledge. If you're sentenced to 2 years in the state prison, now I may be off base on this, but if you're sentenced to 2 years in the state prison, you never leave the county jail.
If you're sentenced to,
2 years in prison, I don't think you ever leave the county jail.
no, I think it's a
Is
year.
it a year? Okay. My second point is, now that they've changed all them, they're shoving the inmates back to us. And I guess my question to you, Harold, is if the guy was sentenced to the state prison, he would get dialysis.
If my understanding of the statute is, if they are a ward of the DOC,
Right.
then DOC would be responsible, the county's not responsible.
Correct, but that's my point about the sentencing. If you're sentenced to, okay, maybe it's a year, you never leave the jail.
Yeah, but what he's saying is, under those circumstances...
But they're a ward of the DOC.
Right.
We're just housing them.
Right, so the DOC, he's saying, would be responsible...
But is that happening, I guess it might...
My understanding is I would hope it is. I haven't done any sort of audit on that, but the law does state that if they're a ward of the DOC, then I would assume that regardless of whether they're at the local jail or at, you know, a DOC facility, that...
Vicki, can you find that out for us, if it's a federal prisoner housed in our jail, or...
I didn't think about the feds.
Yeah, that's a different.
So let's find out how those, if there's circumstances are being treated.
Yeah, because if we are picking up the expenses, medical expenses for federal prisoners, that per diem rate that we're not currently getting is not nearly as lucrative as we think.
Well, surely it's not to include medical costs. Surely not.
And the other
I would
point I
think,
would make
unless
is...
it's in the contract. Go ahead, Harold.
Is, you know, you've got the distinction between, you know, Department of Corrections, Indiana Department of Corrections inmates, and then federal prisoners.
Yeah, and
but in terms of the DOC...
Yeah, my request was, I was kind of in the middle of it, would be for both of those types of prisoners. Anything else, Harold?
No.
That's really good. That's really good information, though. I mean, that's incredible that if I'm a Medicaid recipient and I get arrested and I go into the jail and I need medications for an extended stay there, I'm off their books.
Medicaid and Medicare have exceptions to if you're housed in a facility like the county jail. Now, there's an exception if you're inpatient at a facility outside of the jail, or there's potentially, there's issues about eligibility once you're released and that kind of thing, but both Medicaid and Medicare have explicit exceptions to if you're being housed.
Well, I guess my next question would be, is there somebody internally on the Sheriff's Department that's monitoring this?
I think Edie is.
Okay.
It sounded to me, in talking with the sheriff, and I believe it was Edie who had provided a lot of the documentation to me. She was very, very quickly got everything to me shortly after the last council meeting, and seemed to be pretty on top of it. There were some questions that I had that we still need to talk about, but they seem to be pretty, from my discussions with them, on top of those issues.
Okay, thank you, Harold.
Just one comment to note about. I was at a meeting the other day where it was presented that the state is, they're moving legislation on mental health to make it a local issue. And it's being some seed money, I think they said $60 million to start it out. Well, yeah, but then it's ours then for the cost.
All right. Interesting. So the other thing that seems to have been bounced around here recently, and it came up at our last meeting, had to do with the hospital ambulance contract, and I just wanted to say a couple words about that and get kind of everybody thinking about this. But some things that we know. We know that at the time the ordinance was done at the sale of the hospital, that the cost of the ambulance contract would de facto come out of the hospital principal. And that's the way it's been done. We know that the commissioners in 2014, apparently, voted to extend the hospital contract with Porter, and I'm not quite clear on their vote, but the net result was, in 2016, the commissioners and the hospital, Porter, signed the extension that takes it through the end of 2020. In that contract, having looked at it now, there is a 180-day cancellation clause if we decide to go in other directions. But the thing that we as a council need to be thinking about is the hospital principal, for the most part, is no longer in existence, with the exception of the $10 million holdback that the commissioners did at the time that we moved the money into the foundation. So the money that's in the foundation is no longer hospital principal. It's foundation money for investing purposes. Now, we have a couple of paths we can go down looking for it, and I want us to think about this in terms of budgeting. If we continue to decide that the hospital contract should be paid for out of hospital principal, that train will leave the station at some point, because, as you know, we had $10 million, and we've allocated some of that for the animal shelter, and we've talked about other capital projects, and in those discussions, we hadn't discussed the hospital contract being paid out of that, but that's just out there and needs to be addressed at some point. So the thought is, as we look forward, and let's just assume for a moment that we either use the remains of the $10 million for the capital projects we've talked about, or if we decide not to do those capital projects because they are not, no longer, the time isn't right or the priorities aren't right, I think we should be talking to commissioners about, instead of leaving $8 million sit there in perpetuity to let the hospital contract each year take down, earning us 1% or less on the money, we might want to consider as a council requesting that that money be moved into the foundation so that it can get us perhaps 5 or more % on that money and allocate out of the investment returns monies for the contract or whatever ambulance service we end up with in the future. What I don't want us to do is to just leave the $8 million sit there and just let the hospital contract eat away at that for the next 8 or 9 years and earning next to no money. It doesn't make sense to do that from a money standpoint. It makes better sense as we move forward, and just to let everybody know, you know that up to 5% of the hospital earnings come back into the general fund, and I'm just going to call it miscellaneous revenue because the State Board of Accounts isn't really knowing what to call it. And at that point, we have, as a council, the oversight of that money coming in. And so that would be a pot of money that we could use to allocate for the hospital, or for the ambulance contract. Now, one thing that I discussed some time ago, and I've mentioned to commissioners, I've mentioned to you guys, and is one possibility, and I've asked that the commissioners look at this, and they've indicated that they will, is the possibility, as we're looking at other options for the ambulance service, is to look at, for lack of a better term, ambulance districts, almost like there's fire districts. And so when I'm talking to representatives of the Four Seasons Fire Department, for example, and that was a great example. If someone lives just south of Four Seasons, but in an unincorporated area, they have an ambulance need, who's coming? Well, maybe Porter is first, and then maybe there's a secondary if Porter can't get there. But if we had ambulance districts and it wasn't cost prohibitive, response time might be shortened substantially if we do those things. We could talk to some of the municipalities about extending their districts for ambulance service. It might be cheaper, it might be the same, or it might be so astronomically expensive that that's not an option we can follow. But if it's nearly the same and we're cutting response times, that seems to be an option that we need to explore, I think. But in any case, the thought of it coming out of hospital principal in perpetuity is not going to be available because sooner or later that's going to be gone.
Well, the cost of providing ambulance service in Porter County, to Porter County government, I mean, the figure of this particular new contract is $750,000.
Yes.
I can tell you emphatically that price is in excess of $1 million. And that's because we're providing ambulance service for the unincorporated area, we're subsidizing the ambulance service for the town of Ogden Dunes, we're subsidizing ambulance service for, I believe, South Haven. We are doing everything from buying the striping on these ambulances that are supposedly being owned by a private company, meaning Community Health. We are even buying EMS uniforms. I don't understand that. I don't get that. Somebody needs to explain that. I mean, but that's what happens since this whole thing was first put together in the 1980s, it, for the most part, has not changed. It did not change up until 2007 when Community Health took it over, and it has not changed since that time. And if you don't bid it out,
Well, I mean, here's the,
you don't understand your options.
So we have a philosophical question to start with, and I think Bob Popper had brought this up at one of our meetings. Is ambulance service a function of county government, or is that truly a function of township government?
The answer is no, and it is a function of township government.
So we have that.
So the commissioners want to decide whether they want to be in the ambulance business.
Are we certain? I know fire protection is the,
Fire and ambulance run together, it's a township function.
So, but we, as county elected officials, probably want to make sure, or definitely want to make sure, that our constituency in this county have access to the best quality of ambulance service that can be provided.
Can I jump in, Dan? Your fire ambulance district is, I think it needs to head in some form like that, or it turns into a township function. The township trustees, they can provide ambulance service if they want to, because South Haven does.
Well,
I'm just saying, I don't know if it's
all
a
I
county
know
job.
is
That's all I
that
know.
there's options out there, and there's people that are better informed than we are, that we need to set that question in front of them, let them research it, and get back to you with the results.
Well, I mean, I guess maybe the first question needs to be answered is, does the commissioners, because this really is in their wheelhouse, do they want to stay in the ambulance business? And if they do, then follow your path, Jim. If they don't, then we follow a different path. That's all I'm saying. I'm not a commissioner.
Yeah, but I somewhat, and I'm, this comes from somebody who's running for that office. I don't necessarily agree that it is a commissioner's issue. I think it's a county's issue, because the commissioners may sign that executive order, but it is this body that it ultimately has to find the funding.
Well, I'm just saying, but the executive branch is what I'm referring to.
That's true, and you're right, Jim. I mean, here's the thing, we both have a role. If the county is interested in maintaining ambulance service, we both have a role in that service. One is the commissioner's contract and the council funds.
Yeah.
So we, as a council, have some interest in looking for the best quality and best bang for the taxpayer's buck in providing that service. All I was saying is, as we look at that as a county council, as we talk about the budgeting of this in the future, if we're moving in that direction, there are other things to consider, and that would be, the quality of the provider and the response time.
Right.
So we do need to look at other options. We do need to look at all of our options.
And I believe that the majority of the Board of Commissioners, at this point in time,
Yes.
are wanting to do that as well.
Yes.
The only thing I say about that is that the sooner, we should be looking into that sooner rather than later.
But that answers the question then. Are we staying in the ambulance business?
Well, here's what I think,
What I'm hearing from that end of the table is we are.
Well, wait a minute. What I think we should do is, and this is just my thought, we are coming into a wonderful opportunity to discuss funding, and that would be our budget sessions. And I think that has to be a big part of our budgets, at least with the commissioners, as we're talking about the road ahead. And I think that those questions need to be asked. Do we want to stay in this business? And
and I think that the Board of Commissioners, in their authority, needs to come to us and tell us whether or not that's what they want to do, and then it's our responsibility to tell them whether or not we can afford to do it.
There you go.
Yeah.
There it is, budget sessions.
well, and just finish, I think, you're right in your statement too, is, if these fire departments out there want to do it, I mean, you're looking at the fire ambulance district, and if they're saying we can do it, and we can set up a territory, we can provide a better service, then, they have to be in the conversation.
Yes,
I agree.
there's probably many that could expand
Yeah.
into other territories.
I think it
And provide
could very well
very
be-
wonderful service.
It could very well, we could very well walk away saving $250,000 or more a year, because I'm telling you, right now, it's more than $1 million a year doing what we're doing.
In total.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Easily.
I mean, we got the first question, the fundamental question is, does the county want to stay in the ambulance business? Has to be answered first. If that's a yes or no,
Yep.
that dictates what path we're going down.
Let's talk to the commission at budget time. Anything else?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. All in favor? Good night.
Cubbies.
What?
Cubbies.
Who? Oh, yeah.
Convention.
Huh?
Convention.
Are you the one who watched the Democrat convention?
No, Bobby.
No.
I'm
No, we're gonna come back to
sorry.
more specific information.
How about that funding?
Yeah, about the, with the
I'm-
contract.
They're looking for contract options, we want to look at the contract.
Clarify the cost.
Now,
Yeah.
Sarah, I'm on the jail board, and when the hospital was sold,
You need to
they
bring a
took
contract in front of the commission.
$4 or $5 million, kept it for liability and trailer.
Yes.
I wasn't sure how much of that was.
We allot, and don't forget, we allot $1 million in ambulance. Every township owns so much money based on the population. We're not, it's not a county budget.
How many times have you
It doesn't matter, that is their problem, not ours.
You know, and that money is sitting there.
So that's called raising taxes on their end, they should be in the answer. Oh, no, it's all for center. It's always, right, you see, that's what I'm saying, Center Township.
Bob, you want to look at this or not? Township has statutory authority.
I don't know about that. No, fire neighborhood.
I know it's fire.
So this goes back to NOPAC.
I remember NOPAC, I remember all that.
Yeah, we don't need deep in that. That was Westchester Township.
I remember. And I don't remember, but I.
Okay for striping, or
Oh, we took it.
the details decided.
Okay, excellent.
We're paying for.
The last year we were buying them. Yeah.
One more. $750.
They knocked it down to $750 this year. Ahead of time.
I don't know. Right here. This is what it's costing us.
What was that for?
How's it going, dude?
Where you been, man?
Tired.
This right here, 956 is what it's costing us.
Did you make it?
No kidding. You gotta love the summer.
Here's another.
You gotta love the
report.
summer, man.
You can see here, it's 60,000. You can see what ambulance striping, replacement of flooring, modems, chairs.
Remember last year we
That'll
had
bring it
that,
up.
and they wanted us to buy some cots in the.
46 grand, here's another one. You see here, look, EMS uniforms, I mean, we're
Closer to $1 million. Over $1 million. And we're subsidizing Ogden, what else?
Well, it's not that,
Portage Township.
it's because we've taken the responsibility of it, in the rest of the county, so South Haven's saying, I'll take care of this area, so then we're supplementing them for taking care of that area. Portage says, I'll take care of Ogden Dunes, so as the county, we're supplementing Ogden Dunes.
So in some ways, we're already doing that at a very small scale, and as to what Dan
Yes,
was talking about.
yeah.
So talk to you tonight. Budget time, you can't just like set it up for next year at budget time.
We can't set it
No,
up.
we fill that contract first, got that 90 days, which.
But you have to get something in place.
The commissioners have to get, they have to get something rolling, they have to get the municipalities at the table, they have to create some kind of true committee.
Basically, my story on Sunday got shot
Oh, I
around.
got a lot of talk.
And there was like some of the ambulance people were saying, seemed like saying, you know, like defending, saying the county should stay in this. One of the ambulance districts.
So that was my thought, so yes.
I got a call at home with that.
Yeah.
One of the guys who originally was
We're
part of
finishing up
NOPAC,
a really
the
big
county,
project
he says, that's a problem, county needs to get
Then
back in
next
the
week
ambulance
we're going
business, make sure it's
to
done right and more
Right,
cost
okay.
efficient. Because everybody's talking about money here, but what you don't understand is that there's all this money to be made when you
By
pick somebody up.
picking someone up. Right.
And the other thing
I think
that's
the fire
not on here,
authorities
that the cost is not on here, we do free dispatching for Border Health. Well, all these non-emergency runs, we're dispatching for them.
I don't know, I think you have professionals out there.
That's right.
Like you said, we're already doing it on a small scale. Well, the township's doing it, city of Portage is doing it. Let's talk to city of Valpo, city of Chesterton, town of Cow. Or, and then
You're way, it could be more expensive.
look at the fire district. Fire district,
Break off from you there, didn't they do that not too long ago?
Valpo?
Was there a split on the, it was the motion?
They broke off.
The only one that they tabled,
Portage was the only one when it was.
Sheriff for the body cameras, right? That was-
Yes.
That was part of the treatment, they got to keep their.
We had another item, but that must have been.
Yeah, we do the dispatching, because they have no dispatch.
That was the only one that I
Hello.
had the sheriff, DE approved.
That was 6-1, right?
I heard Rita.
Yeah, we just say that,
Again.
that's okay, I just wanted to make
It
sure that was
wasn't a
right
roll call,
request.
it was a voice call, so that was the only one
Yeah.
I picked up, it was saying no.
Okay,
That you wanted to, like, go.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
great.
well, I got 5 minutes. Well, it takes 20 minutes to get your order.
Oh, gosh.
So now
Yeah.
I only have 5 minutes to kill instead of 15 minutes.